Hey guys, welcome to the virtual music making workshop. My name is Eliza. I am the vice president of NAfME. We would like to thank everybody who signed up for this wonderful event. Who, Dr. Powell is here to teach us more about virtual music making. He is the associate professor of secondary guitar one and music tech, and also popular music techniques next semester. So without further ado, Dr. Powell, take it away.
I will. Hello, everyone. Thanks for, first of all, let me hold on, advance my slide. There you go. Thanks for the exec board for inviting me. I am happy to be here with you. As I share my screen, I lose your faces. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself and yell at me, and I'd be happy to have a chat. we're going to be doing some music making together, and then we're going to be talking about how we can make music in virtual spaces. But I would be remiss if I didn't also try to connect some of the concepts behind why we might want to engage in online music making, why we might want to incorporate music technology. So I'm going to start with some physical music making. And so you need your hands and your feet free. I wore, I'm not wearing sweats or anything, which is unusual for Zoom classes. So I'm wearing my good pants so that I can do this activity. I'm going to start with my right hand, and I'm going to find a place on my shoulder, and I'm just going to lightly tap it. So join in with me. And I'm going to think through 4. And then I'm going to add a stomp on beats 1 and 3. And then I'm going to slap my leg, not too hard, on beats 2 and 4. If this is like freaking you out, go back to doing just 2 of the things. And then when you feel good, you can add the 3rd thing. And now my chest tapping is going to come twice as fast. Cool. And if we were all together, we would, drum and you would take solos. So this is a visual representation of what we did. We are recreating the rhythms that we would create at a drum kit with the kick drum, our snare drum, and a hi-hat, because there's a small difference between this activity and transitioning it to an actual drum kit. And this is all building to the virtual part of this. Because if we understand how this beat works, this is iconic notation, which is in our national core art standards. It talks a lot about iconic notation, and iconic notation is just the visual kind of pictorial representation of what we're playing. NAfME defines notation as a visual representation of musical sound. So any visual representation of musical sound is notation. This is what we just did. Our kick is on 1 and 3. Our snare is on 2 and 4. And our hi-hat is on the 8th beat pattern. And I can mirror you as well. This is a skill that you'll need for the classroom. You need to play recorder with your right hand on top. You need to be able to mirror your students. So we are going to play some AC/DC, and we're going to use this drum beat to accompany. And even though I can't see you, I'm going to know deep in my heart that you're doing it. Yep. Kick, snare, kick. You can even solo here. And solo again. One more solo again. Lovely. So this, it's called the backbeat here. The backbeat is actually any kind of drum beat that has the snare on 2 and 4. If you've ever been to a concert, as music majors, we like when people clap on 2 and 4. My friend Gareth has a t-shirt that says, "Friends don't let friends clap on 1 and 3." And we like that because like the rock drum beat, the snare is it's that clap that transient sound that comes in on 2 and 4, it just works and it sounds good. And that kick on beat 1, it works. And so all drum beats that we know of are some variation of this. Sometimes instead of the kick on 1 and 3, the kick is on 1, 2, 3, and 4, called 4 on the floor. Sometimes we put the kick on the and of 2, like, darling, I will be loving you till we're 17. I always say 17 because that's not a very old age to be loving someone. So it's all a variation of what we have here. So if you've heard students, or if you yourself are like, oh, I like to make beats, and the musician inside of us are like, well, the beat is a constant, steady pulse. So what do they mean when they say that a student wants to make beats? It is all based on this principle, because this backbeat here can be used in just like 1,000 different songs. So you can see the percussion notation of the kick and the snare, the hi-hat at the top, or our visual notation here. And here's a video of some examples of songs that use this same rhythm. If you pay attention to, now the video and the audio might be a little off because we're streaming through Zoom, but if you just kind of pay attention, the kick is going to be on 1 and 3, the snare is going to be on 2 and 4, and it's a lot of songs that you recognize.
I'd like to be younger, so much younger than today.
All right, so those are just a few examples of songs that use that backbeat that we can see here. And the truth is, any song that's in 4, you can use this backbeat. Even songs that have iconic drum beats like We Will Rock You. Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You can use the backbeat to that song, as long as it's in 4. Like, you know, Happy Birthday to You, or Dave Brubeck's Take 5 album, not good options for this beat, but this works any other way. So if we understand, and we're gonna get to the online tech part here in a second, if we understand how this rock beat works, that is the backbone of just like all music, then it's easy for us to translate that knowledge and transfer it to an online platform for beat making and creation. So this is Soundtrap, and I'm going to pull up Soundtrap, and I'm going to show you some stuff in Soundtrap, and then I'm going to show you some stuff not in Soundtrap. Let me see if I will go here. And, oh yeah, I've got to escape. That's the problem. I'm just going to talk to myself. Carry on. You're doing fine. Oh, I can see your faces. I stopped sharing, and there you are. Amanda, you have an encouraging face as a presenter. This is good. So let me stop sharing, and now we're back to the full share. There's like memes going around that every teacher is like, okay, let me share my screen, and now, okay, can you hear me? There's a lot of that. So in Soundtrap is a subscription software platform. It's a digital audio workstation. It is a DAW, a DAW. Other examples of DAWs are, Logic or Pro Tools or GarageBand or Bandlab or Cubase or Logic, Reason. There's Reaper. There's a lot of DAWs out there. Probably GarageBand is the most famous because it comes with Macs. And DAWs let you do a handful of things. And one of those is most DAWs allow you to make beats. So I'm going to pull up this thing in the middle. And some of you have access to Soundtrap because you're in my music tech class or my teaching popular music class. And if you're in my popular music techniques class next semester, we're going to use Soundtrap as well, because who knows what next semester is going to allow us to do. Maybe we get to be together in person, maybe we don't. And so a DAW, especially a cloud-based DAW, is really useful. So when I say cloud-based, I mean that I went to a website, I logged in, and now I have access to the DAW. Unlike GarageBand, whereas if I work on a project on GarageBand on my Mac here, and then I go to the Cali school and I go to one of those computers, I can't just necessarily pull up the same project in GarageBand. I would have to save it and send it to myself as an attachment. Cloud-based DAWs, Soundtrap and Bandlab are the two most popular. They exist on the web, in the cloud. So I can just pull up this website, which is useful. So I'm going to click here in the middle on Patterns Beatmaker, and then I'm going to give you a link that while I'm blabbering, you can actually go to and start making your own beats and ignoring what I say. And so if what I'm doing here is I'm going to, and I can explain all this stuff later. Basically, I am here in this Patterns Beatmaker, and I have this visual image right here. In fact, I'm going to do this in reverse order because this is going to be a cleaner visual. If I go to the Google machine, and you can do this as well, and you type in online drum machine, all of these options will give you an online drum machine. If you just type in drum machine, you might get some pictures or links for like hardware, like an actual, piece of hardware. And so I just clicked on the first one, and this is the visual image. Let me scroll in here and let me explain what we're looking at. If you've never seen a beat sequencer, let me understand how this works. This is a 4-beat, 4-measure phrase. And the measures are here, but this representation is just 4 beats. It's 1 measure. So this is beat 1, this is beat 2, this is beat 3, this is beat 4. So we have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and as I go across. So I want to recreate this rhythm here. This is the part where you're going to unmute your mic and say words so I can hear them out loud. What beats are we going to put the bass drum on?
1 and 3.
1 and 3, correct. Yes. So I'm coming over here. My bass drum is down here. That's beat 1. E and 2, E and 3. They've given us it, and there we go. So now if I hit my space bar, I have my kick on beats 1 and 3. Where do I want my snare drum? What beats?
2 and 4.
2 and 4, yes. And you can, hold it up to the camera. I can see your faces now. So I come to snare, and I have my snare on 2 and 4. And I'm going to add a hi-hat. Let me stop playing for a sec. I'm going to add a hi-hat every other square because these are 16th notes, but maybe I'll do something, a little cheeky and put them on all the 16th notes. So what I've done is I've basically just recreated this pattern. I've recreated this pattern in this beat machine. It sounds like this. And then I can add random. Yeah. take a moment, just dance with me. Thank you, Eric. This is the international Zoom dance. So, and then the thing is, like, I can add, so that's in this, this is drum bit. And again, it's free. You didn't have to download anything. It's immediately accessible. I can save it for later. I can open a file that I have things saved in. I can clear things out. So let's say I have a student who's not sure where to start. They have demos. So see here, it says no demo. I'm just going to throw like the first one, a rock demo. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill in the squares for me. So as you can see, they put a kick on the and, 2E and, on the and of 2 to make this beat. I could find like a hip hop. That's a little better. It's hip hop-ish. But what they could then do is they can choose the sounds they want, and they can click just kind of anything, and it will work, even if it's like some weird syncopation. I liked that. We could just do, you know, measure 1. So when people talk about making beats, oftentimes what they're doing is they're creating the basics here. Now let me go back to Soundtrap. And I chose to do it there because it's a little smaller in Soundtrap. But it's the same deal, all right? I'm going to put my kick, and I'm going to put my kick on all 4 beats. Let me turn off that metronome. And I can put my snare in. I can, you know, click in. I can also drag, and I'm going to add another thing. So I went over there, add, I'm going to add, oh, I don't know, a high tom. I like my high toms to be like on the off beats. So I have built a beat, and I'm in Soundtrap now. There are other online DAWs that allow you to do this, and you can see as I'm adding stuff, it comes up here. So what this allows me to do is I can drag this out, and now, and if I take my looper off, I've got an extended beat. And if you've ever used GarageBand, you know that a lot of DAWs have loops, and you can drag in loops. So I can take a loop, in Soundtrap it's over here, and I'm just gonna find one that I know, the Brampton family. When I double click, it adds that automatically, and now I have, cool. And when I add that to my own loop over here, and I can drag and drop loops till the cows come home. But the thing that I like about this setup is we've created something based on knowledge that we might have about how drum beats work. We are able to take that knowledge and then connect it. So then the next piece in creation is I want to add more stuff. I could add a piano part again if I'm in a I could add like a bass, and I could pick any bass that I want, and I can play it. Sure, and I'm just going to randomly pick this one, and now I've got this. Let's come back over here. You can't really hear my bass if you're on earbuds, but I can hear it out of my monitors. So I'm going to build something here. And now it is time for me to add lyrics. This is, can be an opportunity where you can get tripped up because it's like, we historically as music educators are not songwriters. It doesn't make sense that we're not, but we're not. And that's because oftentimes we focus on performing other people's compositions and not creating our own. So sometimes we have a little little bit of self-consciousness when it comes to creating our own things. So I'm going to talk to just a few ways that we can think about like lyric creation and adding it in. And then, you know, we'll do an activity together. So one idea, and I'm going to leave Soundtrap open. Let me see if I can then go back to sharing that. It worked. I just learned how to like share a new thing without having to go out of sharing and come back in. So proud of myself. So one idea that's super simple is so we've created a beat, right? And it's time for us to either rap over it or create a melody, create a song. One thing that's an easy first step for yourselves and for your future students is take lyrics that already exist and then practice, you know, rapping them over the beat or singing them over the beat. So here's an example of, do we know who this is? This is Ludacris. You should know that. He was in the Fast and Furious movies, I think. But also he's a rapper before your time. And this is him rapping Llama Llama Red Pajamas, the children's book. So he's taking lyrics that already exist and he's putting it over a beat. And it sounds like this.
Llama Llama Red Pajama. Ludacris is here.
Yeah, man.
Of the Furious in theater tomorrow.
Hey, Llama Llama, Red Pajama. Reads a story with who? With his mama. Hey, mama kisses, what? Baby hair. Mama Llama goes all the way downstairs. Hey, Llama Llama, what? Red Pajama. Feels alone with who? Without his mama. Hey, baby Llama, it wants a drink. Mama's at the kitchen, what the kitchen sink? I'm talking Llama Llama, what? Red Pajama, what? Calls down to Llama Mama. Hey, Mama says she'll be up soon, soon. Baby Llama hums a tune. Llama Llama, Red Pajama.
All right, so that's Ludacris. And what he's doing there is, again, he's taken a beat, or a beat that someone else created, but we could create that beat ourselves. And that could be like track 1 in our DAW. And then track 2 could be a vocal part that we're going to add in there. And I'll demonstrate how to do this later. So option 1 is create lyrics that already exist, especially for students who are new to the process and might be a little self-conscious about like, what could I do, or what should I talk about, or any of those sort of things. Option 2 is you can have like a worksheet that has some like, you know, openings where students can add in content, or they can create their own thing. So we're going to do this now. And I'm sharing my screen. No, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can volunteer people without their knowledge. Okay, so let me pull up the thing that I need. Can you see my screen anymore or no? I can't see your faces, so.
No,
I
we
can
can
see
see your screen. No.
Thanks. Yeah, this is a participatory situation. All right, Eric, I need a word that describes a feeling.
Happy.
Happy, perfect, good word. Amanda, I need an adjective. An adjective is a describing word.
Like a random adjective?
A random adjective.
Fluffy.
Fluffy, like it. Eliza, I need another random adjective.
Cuddly.
We can make that work, sure. I'll allow it. All right, Lauren, you do the short straw because you need to not only know what a verb is, it's an action word, but it needs to be past tense. Give me a past tense verb.
Jumped.
Jumped. Love it. I need an article of clothing, Joanne.
Shoes.
Shoes. I'll allow it. Ryan, I need a mode of transportation. Oh, I didn't hear you. You unmuted. Can you act it out for me? Is it an airplane? Is it a car?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, hi.
A bike.
A bike, yep. And Jasmine, last but not least, I know you're hoping I would pick on you. I just need a place, any place at all.
Chipotle.
I like it a lot. I haven't been to Chipotle since before the quarantine. So as you might have guessed, we're just doing like a rap lyric Mad Lib. So I have my my words here. I'm going to actually let me share my whole screen because I'm going to play the beat that we created, and then we will rap over that, and that will be better for us. So here's my screen. I'm back into Soundtrap. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to delete it because I can. So this is what I have so far. And I'm going to turn that on just for fun. Yeah, I'm going to go here. I'm going to loop it in case I can. All right, now I'm coming back here. And I've got my words. I woke up this morning feeling happy. My hair looked fluffy and my mind was cuddly. I jumped out of bed and I put on my shoes. Time to take a bite to Chipotle. Oh, I thought I was pausing it. I know, that was a pretty sick beat. If I just have this beat going on in the background, well, that's a little much. Let's just go for a run. That works. I could create. This is like a beatboxing backbeat. I'm just going to create a melody for our lyrics and sing that over. Woke up this morning feeling happy. My hair was fluffy and my mind was cuddly. I jumped out of bed and put on my shoes. Time to take some bite to Chipotle. Chipotle. Yeah, that's in my range. It's fine. So I've created these lyrics. It's formulaic, I know, but then I could go back to our Soundtrap tune here, and this is going to give me a different. That's just a little fast for my tune. So the DAW, because it's amazing, allows us to do some stuff. I'm going to change the tempo. So instead of being 2 beats every second, 120, I'm going to put it down to 90, which is kind of the international hip-hop tempo, and I'm going to adjust everything. Now life is good. Also, that's not a great key for me. I'm a trombone player, so if it's not in B flat or F, I get nervous. So I'm going to come up here, and I can choose any key that I want. I can put it in a major key, and I can click adjust. And now our tune. That works. This can work for songwriting and creation. It also can work for fill in the blank thing that you're going to do when you get a job. If you are a beginning band teacher, playing long tones on your trombone is super boring. Playing long tones over like a hip hop backing track, all of a sudden is just way cooler. So I can find a backing track. I can put it in track 1. And then in track 2, I'm going to add a vocal mic, and I'm going to, unfortunately, well, fortunately for you, my trombone is not within my reach, so you don't have to listen to it, and it's fine. But right, I could work on, I've got a ukulele, always at the ready. I could record myself in playing my scales or whatever, not that anyone has ever played scales on the ukulele, but I could have this backing track. I could record over it, and then if, as the teacher, I can add, I'm listed as a collaborator, so I have access to the projects that my students create. So if we're thinking about creating a full song, we can create the rhythm, we can create the melody, we can do all those sort of things. If we are a band director and I just want them to play something back for me so I can hear it, we can use online technologies, whether it's like Flipgrid and they're making a video for us. If you've had me for Brass Methods, like Joanne had me for Brass Methods, I think. Yeah, we created Flipgrid videos of them playing. Good memories. And then it allowed me to get some instant feedback, but I'm really interested in music creation. So like, let's recreate the horn part for Uptown Funk or High Hopes, yes. Let's also like write new stuff. And if we know 3 notes, we can bring those in. So beat making is something that I'm just going to generalize. All students like it. I've done it with high school students. I've done it with middle school students. It allows them to kind of connect things. They can, you know, create something, and then once they have that beat, then they can then create over the top of that. I want to go quickly on a few more things, and I want to then get back on some more technologies. And I'm going to just share my PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, so about me, some of you know me better than others, but oh, there's beatboxing. So this is me. That's my headshot that I took at one point in my life. Hopefully I look better than that now. Don't tell me if I don't. But in addition to doing those things, I also do these things as much as I can because I love popular music and performing in that way. But prior to doing that, I also did these things. And the reason I show you my picture of my high school marching band outfit, and if you've been in my class, you've probably seen it. I was like raised, my dad was a marching band director. He was my high school band director. That's the experience that I wanted to do. When I was in college, I was just focused on like, how do I become a band director? You know, because that's the goal. And then I moved to New York City from California, and I got a job in a East Harlem public school. And it became kind of quickly apparent that I had some students who wanted to do concert band, but most of my students who were musical and into music, they didn't want to do it. They wanted to create things. They wanted to play music that was familiar to them. They wanted to listen to music they liked, not play, you know, out of the Essential Elements book. And it was like this total wake-up call. So I think that it's great that we are talking about, you know, how do we engage people in online music making, because now there's like a huge opportunity for that. I was fortunate because in 2003, 2004, GarageBand came out, and it was not GarageBand like you know it now, but it still had some loop-based things and we could create, and it was totally opened up all these opportunities for me because my school had a Mac lab that I could access, and I could then do all these kind of like music creation things. This is going to be the part of the presentation where I kind of like try to make some connections. I'm going to go quickly because I know that that's not why we're here. If we look at, so we're the NAfME Collegiate chapter, folks. If we look at NAfME's stated mission, it's to advance music education by promoting and understanding, by promoting the understanding and making of music by all. Let's look at that last part. Music by all. Question, who is included in all? Someone unmute yourself and tell me, who is included in all?
Everyone, including your general education students.
Yeah, all, everybody. All includes kids who want to be in band, choir, and orchestra. All includes students who don't want to play trombone or clarinet or flute. All include students who don't care about reading traditional music staff notation. All include students who would prefer to engage in hip hop as opposed to fill in the blank. All, yeah, it means everybody. It means students with special needs. It means students across all elements of the socioeconomic spectrum. So if we are actually talking about music for all, then that's something that has to complicate our professional lives, because we can't just, you know, run a band program and whoever signs up gets to be in school music, and if they don't sign up, they don't get school music. That's not all. All has to challenge our lives. NAfME also came out with this thing called the House Right and the Declaration Symposium, and then they had a declaration, and in there it says that all music, so again, these are NAfME's words, all music has a place in the curriculum. Not only does Western art music need to be preserved and disseminated, music educators need to be aware of other music that people experience and be able to integrate it into the music instruction. And we're going to talk about music that people experience in a little bit. And again, I'm going quickly because I want to get to more music making. Our New Jersey Music Educators Association, they list some objectives on their website. And I'm just going to skip to the part that I want you to focus on. You want to engage students so that they can participate fully in their musical culture. Whose musical culture? Theirs, the music of the students. And so if we think of the music of students, we think about like, okay, well, music in society. What does music in society look like? Here is a visual representation based on popularity. This was done in like 2014, I think, and you know it was done then and not more recently, because if it was done more recently, hip hop would be the largest color organization. So this is music And oftentimes, this is music education. Again, this is music. We are music teachers, right? So music is this. We are music teachers. We teach music. This is music, but this is music education. Some classical, a cappella, jazz, world music, some folk. It doesn't really represent, I could stare at that all day. Yeah, it doesn't represent this. This is exciting. This is what students want to engage in. This, slightly less so. If we think about music in society, what are the instruments that people use to engage in music? The North American Music Merchants, NAMM, they put out a global report. 2018, 2.5 million guitars were sold. 1.2 million ukuleles were sold. All wind instruments combined, 600,000. So that's flutes and clarinets and trombones and everything. So if we are interested in lifelong music making, we need to be thinking through the ways in which people in society are making music. And if we can expand our minds, and this is coming back to the technology thing, to understand how people are engaging in music now, there were almost 54 million iPads sold. So if we can understand the iPad as being an instrument, that dwarfs everything else. So the future of music education is not one thing, it is many things. And included in those many things might be a guitar, yes, but in our lifetime, me handing a kid like an acoustic guitar might be as foreign as like handing them a sackbut or a shalm or something else that they're like, I don't want to play this, because they'll have holograms in their eyeballs by then. Who knows what the future of music education can look like? But if we can understand how to facilitate opportunities through music making using technology, then we're going to be prepared for kind of whatever comes next. I'm going to watch a little bit of the next video. It's long, you've probably seen it, but the kind of concepts behind them are interesting. So it's the Four of Chords and the Truth video. These gentlemen are going to play many songs using the same four chords over and over and over again.
Four-chord song, Benny. Peep them and pump out every part.
Brilliant, my love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure.
Well, that's just two songs that are similar. That's
forever young.
Three songs.
I wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. This is the way you left me. I'm not pretending. No love, no hope, no glory, no happy ending. 'Cause you were amazing. We did amazing things. If I could, then I would. I'd go wherever you will go. Feel alive tonight, and she will be.
All right, if you've not seen that video, it's like 4 minutes long. They use the same four chords in the same order, and they can form an infinite number of songs. Again, this is something that we can take that knowledge about how chords work, and we can connect it to, you know, some online music making. So if you end up in elementary general, and even if you don't, Chrome Music Lab is a really great resource that has a lot of fun, interactive things. I use it in my music tech classes to talk about oscillators, because if you've not played around with the oscillator, it's really fun. And then we can talk about frequency, value, and things like that. But they have a song maker that oftentimes younger students will just kind of click around in. But I can build. I'm just going to drag here. Hold on, there we go. And then I'm going to add the third. And then I'm going to add the fifth. There it is. I think I have like 1,000 tabs over. So that chord progression was a 1, 5, 6, 4. So I'm going to recreate that here as quickly as I can. Right. So there's 1, 5. 6 is just going to be one higher. I can change the key. There we go. And then this compelling zoom watching as you watch me click the boxes. I thought about having this pre-made, but I wanted you to see how easy it is to make. And then the 4 is going to be here. Something's wrong with my clicker. Oh, and we made it. Okay. Now if I have my space bar, it's going to give me that 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. Settings, and I'm gonna put it like, I don't know, in a different key. Let's put it in G, because Dr. Powell has a low voice. Not only could you take this as a background, you can then also allow students to create a melody, and because you can set the key, and you can put how many octaves, and you can put how many notes, and all of those things, it's an easy way to allow them to start creating using something that the interface is really friendly. And then depending if you have older students, you can take the same concept. So let's say I'm going to add, and I know this is slightly quick here, but I can record in a rhythm, and I can use the keyboard that is in front of me. So like, let's say I want to play a G major chord. I'm just pressing the keys on my keyboard, and it's telling me what to press. And so let's say I'm going to mute that so I don't have to worry about it, and I'm going to record that into here. So let me click record. It's going to count me in. I'm going to find my notes. Oh yeah, we slowed down. And now I have this bit of MIDI information. And again, without getting too crazy, I can take that and I can copy it, and then I can put it, you know, anywhere. I can move it up or down. I can recreate that same chord progression. So DAWs give us a lot of opportunity to take music creation opportunities. I can drag in loops. I can create my own beats in the Patterns Beat Maker. I can input MIDI information, and then I can record my voice in. That's the last thing I want to touch on, and then I'm going to see if you have questions, and then I can show some more stuff as needed. But one of the cool things is as I go to record my voice in, let me mute these things, it will record my voice. It's counting me in here, nice and slow, and it's going to record my voice in without any effect, but it's going to add an effect when we play it back. So when I hit stop, there it is, and it sounds like this. Record my voice in without any effect, but it's going to add an effect when we play it back. So it sounds like I'm in a tiled bathroom, so to speak. But if I come down here, I can add weird effects like space face. Sounds like this. Record my voice in without any effect, but it's going to add an effect when we play it back. Yeah, space face is a bit much. So a project that I've done with students, both college students and in pre-quarantine, is a songwriting project. But within there, there's a lot of connections. So we can make a beat. And then as I make a beat, let me go back to this slide here. As I make a beat, I can talk about eighth notes versus quarter notes. I can talk about, you know, rhythmic notation. I can say, hey, who can come up and rhythmically notate this on the board if I want to? As I create a melody, and I have like that triad that we built here, depending on the age of my students, I'm like, all right, if I'm in the key of C, this is C, E, and G. Who can come up to the board and on traditional music staff notation, notate where C, E, and G are on the staff. So there's a lot of things that we can do. We can start with technology. We can start with beat making and creation and recording themselves in song creation. And then we can start to connect maybe some concepts that we want them to understand. You know, harmonies versus individual melody. You know, different rhythmic durations of notes. having them create their own songwriting activities, and especially for virtual and online teaching, the thing that works well is projects that can span over the duration of a lot of different individual gatherings, not just like a series of one-offs that you're always kind of trying to find the next thing. So if you're doing a songwriting project, not only is that, you know, one of our guiding principles for our you know, the big four in our national core art standards, the create element, looking at how we can have our students create meaningfully. And again, if they're a trombone player, I'll just keep going back to what I know, find a backing track where they're going to come into Soundtrap. They're going to find a backing track that works for them. Let me delete that weird thing that I recorded. And then they can add the second track. And this track could be them just like playing the B flat scale on whole notes, or this could be them working on their articulations or whatever the case may be. I've been working with some Montclair State students who are using technology in choirs. They'll put in the recording of the choir as the first track of the full piece. And then in the second piece, it's like the tenor part with, you know, the recording with I'm playing the tenor part along. Or I could put in a soprano, an alto, a tenor, and a bass part, and I could come in and I could mute the bass part, I'm a bass, and I could mute my part, you know, like music -1. Ashley, one of our grad students who's a choral teacher, I'm working with her because her students are all recording individual parts to a choir piece, and then we're gonna mix it all together. And what she is doing is the track, the recording is here in track 1. The students can hear it in their headphones. And then they're singing in and recording themselves on a microphone or their phones or their Chromebooks or whatever. They're recording themselves into track number 2. So they hear the recording, but the only thing we hear is their voice singing. And then we take all of those files and we add them all as multiple tracks in the same, and then we can kind of mix it and we can create. So technology helps us do the things we want to do. I mean, there's a lot of apps that I haven't gotten into because I feel like sometimes students can kind of understand how apps work. I think of technology in 3 fields. There's technology for helping us teach. So like a smart board or something like that it can be a technology. There's technology for recording and, you know, audio and video recording and playback. There's those technologies. And then there's technology as instrument. So I have a student who maybe has special needs and they can't, you know, finger the notes on the clarinet. However, they can meaningfully participate if I have an app where they just have to touch and it's touch sensitive and they can kind of create those sounds. So as you think about integrating technology because it's cool is fun, but that doesn't last. If I'm integrating technology just because it's like a fun thing to do, that like gets old really quickly and it gets old for you. If I'm integrating technology because it's allowing me to do something that I want to do or that I would otherwise not be able to do, it works. It's hard to hold a rehearsal over Zoom for a lot of different types of music. If it's electronic music, it works well because there's not like, you know, a strong steady pulse, and so it can phase and have some latency and it's okay. But if I want to rehearse my group or if I want to record something, technology can help us do that. If I have beginning band students and I can't be with them, and I want them to be able to capture themselves using Flipgrid or another video. Are we all familiar with Flipgrid? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay, cool. I'm not going to show it. But getting some feedback there is actually a really useful tool. Last spring, as we went into the quarantine, I was teaching my Teaching Popular Music class, and we were supposed to be forming bands and getting together and covering songs and writing our own songs, and all of a sudden everything shut down. So I actually use Bandlab. I'll show you Bandlab. Look at that. It was already up. Bandlab is free and they have an EDU version. So if we're worried about like, you know, and you can see I collaborated with a lot of other, there we are. Yay. I collaborated with a lot of professors at different universities, and we did like a interdepartmental music making collaboration. And so, you know, I would have Layla, who some of you know plays guitar, just graduated. She recorded herself playing and singing piano, and then another student added a violin part, and the student from a different university added a drum part. And so there was these opportunities to collaborate outside of our school setting. And I'm just gonna pull up Bandlab so you can see it's the same basic idea. I have loops, I can import MIDI stuff. They have a drum machine. You know, the drum machine's already here. I can look at the pictures. This is our kick drum. That's a pedal. I can program my own thing. Again, I can add my own clicks. So once you understand how most technologies work, for example, using a drum machine, they're all kind of the same. Even, I have my push 2 here, even like something that has pads and that you can trigger, it's the same idea. One of them is going to trigger this sound. I can program it to make the sounds that I want. And there's hardware and software versions of that. So it doesn't matter if you're using GarageBand or Bandlab or Soundtrap or Film or Ableton Live. It works. If you understand how to import MIDI or how to record vocals into a DAW, like you're going to be able to do that uniformly. And so that's why the specific technology isn't as important as just kind of conceptually understanding how you can use that technology to provide access for creative music making for your students. Because if I train you how to use GarageBand and then you go to your school and it's all Chromebooks and you're like, we don't have GarageBand, it's useless. Well, it's not, because the way that drum machines work are the same. The way that we record music in is the same. The way that we can utilize technology for student creation is the same. And then our job as music educators is to facilitate those experiences. So, okay, you've created a beat. Let's find some loops that are going to work. Now let's create some vocals that are going to go on top of that. If you're self-conscious, let's take this poem that already exists. Or let me give you a prompt. You're going to write a song about like our social studies class or about our composer of the week or whatever the prompt is, and eventually we can get to the point where students can kind of create their own thing. So I have a whole, let me scroll through. Yeah, the moral of the story is that like our students are the most valuable part of the classroom. You know, they're more valuable than the content. The purpose of the content is to add value to the future of the student, not the other way around. And so all of these tech things start with a conversation with my students. Like, what kind of stuff do you want to do? What are you interested in? Who do you listen to? Like, what do you like? Oh, let's see if we can recreate that beat from a song that you've chosen. Like, having that conversation and that dialogue is a huge first step, because if I come and I'm like, yo, we're going to make beats, and maybe that's not what my students want to do, then I'm not going to have a lot of success in that environment. I want to engage them in that kind of dialogue. And so the concepts behind, again, beat making and music creation, it doesn't really matter the platform. There are going to be opportunities to make those connections. And then there's a lot of apps that we can use, and I'll send you a list of apps that I like. It just seemed it was harder to do a screen share, and I didn't want to be holding up my iPad and see what I'm doing here. So I've talked for a long time, but I would love any questions, comments, concerns, clarifying questions, anything like that in the 6 minutes that we have left.
Is there any way for you to share the PowerPoint with us so we can share that?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Anything, I'll send you all a link. Amanda, do I send that to you since you're the communications person, or should I? Or Lauren, president? I don't want to step on your presidential toes. I don't know how the power struggle works within the exec board. So yeah, I'm happy to share this with you. And there's stuff in there around like culturally responsive. Again, the reason I do technology is because oftentimes it connects to some things that students want to do, not just because I like technology and it allows us to create things. So yeah, happy to share that PowerPoint. Another point that I didn't make is, you, as a student, if you drag some loops in there and you make a beat by just like copying a pattern, you make something that sounds instantly really great. As a trombone player, it took me years to get a tone out of my instrument that I was happy with. And in this instant success and instant access is something that can be really cool for hooking students into the music making process. And then we can kind of start there. It's not something where like, yeah, you've got to work at it more and then it'll sound good. Technology allows it to instantly sound really cool because it's mimicking things that they know in society. Other questions or comments? Cool. Well, again, thanks to the exec team from NAfME Collegiate for having me. And then please reach out. Like if you want to, if you don't have access to Soundtrap and you want access, email me and I can get you access. I can sign you up. I have codes for Montclair State. If you want to make music together, if y'all want to collaborate on a project, like let's do it. We can all pick apart and we can cover a song. We can do a Halloween tune, or we can make our own stuff. Like, let's make music together, because this is how we learn. If we can make music together virtually as students, then when we get into the classroom, I mean, hopefully the quarantine is over sooner rather than later. But these are skills that will stay with us. So let's do it collectively. Dr. Silverman's going to freestyle rap over whatever we create. She promised. So we're good. I would love that. So we'll create a project together, and we'll do just some kind of like music making experience. That would be fun.
Absolutely. And I know Director Mizaki is really trying to get all of the organizations together. Maybe that's something that all of the orgs could collaborate on together. How many people here, by like a show of hands, would be interested in participating in something like that? Okay, so I can say we have 6 people to bring to the table, and that's awesome.
Cool. And it's super easy. I can set up a group for us, and then we would all be collaborators in the same project. And then we can have a discussion on, do we want to cover a song? Do we want to create our new song? Do we want to do we have 2 groups who wants to split up? And like, there's a lot of possibilities. So, but it should be student driven, not me saying, hey, let's do this, because that'll be fun. Whatever you want to do. So I'll touch base with Lauren and the team, and then we can kind of, reach out and make some of those connections. And then I'll also be in touch soon. I want to get, speaking of student groups, I want to get some popular music making happening. And so I want to create a student group for that might turn into like some kind of, hands-on performance group. No experience necessary, all welcome. And we'll do some songwriting and cover tunes that we like and that sort of thing, just to kind of broaden our experiences as music makers here at the Cali School.
That sounds awesome. Sign me up.
All right, I'm in too. So there, we got two. Awesome. All right, well, I am going to actually go into a meeting right now with Director Mizaki. So thanks again for hanging out with me on a Wednesday afternoon. And please reach out if you have any questions, like if you have a question about technology, if you're trying to record your church choir, and I'm happy to help. So feel free to touch base, and we'll collaborate on all sorts of things.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Powell. Thank you for donating your Wednesday to us.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Powell. And
bye, everybody.
Else, we have an event next week, which is a general meeting. Just check in, talk, hang out, play games. It'll be a great time. And then on November 4th at 3 o'clock, all of our meetings are Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Dr. Silverman will be giving an open forum. Come, bring all the questions, everything you were afraid to ask. Just bring it. We are here, we're an open community, and we want to make sure everyone's questions get answered. Bring anything from music education philosophy to scheduling to what am I doing with my life? We have all of those conversations. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And if the e-board could just hang back for a few seconds for a debrief, and everyone else, you're good to go. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully I'll see you next week.